All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus. We got the man in the middle, Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings, joining us once again on a. Vikings fans just got horrible news about 2025 because, well, maybe it's horrible, maybe not. But what Luke Braun is going to make us feel better. I guarantee it.
Is he? I hope so.
No, he will. Look at him. He's already smiling, man. He's already smiling. Luke, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey, it's not my knee, right? I can walk around.
Oh wow,
Selfish.
Yeah, I feel better already. Let's hop into it. JJ McCarthy, your initial thoughts, your initial concerns, your initial fears.
So meniscus surgery, I guess my understanding of the situation is they don't know how severe the tear is, but he's going to have surgery for a torn meniscus. So there's two different meniscus procedures that you can have. If it's a small tear, they can essentially do a cleanup. If there's just like a tiny little tear and a little bit of the cartilage, they just cut that bit of the cartilage out, and then they call it good to go. And you just have a little bit less cartilage in your meniscus for the rest of your life. That is a way less invasive procedure and is one that you can recover from in a matter of weeks, not a matter of season. That the downside is long term, you have less cartilage in your knee, so you're gonna get more problems later down the road. Both in terms of like in his age 30 season, you might start to have knee issues, you might start to have Sam Bradford stuff, but also just like when you're 50, it hurts worse. You had less cartilage in your knee. But if there's, it's this tiny little microscopic tear taken out a little, not a big deal. If it's a full ass tear, then they have to do a full repair. They can do that and fully like actually put the thing back together and do the real, but that's like, you got to open up the whole knee and you got to do the whole thing. That's a much longer recovery. That's the one that takes you out for the season. Anthony Barr, his rookie year, had just the cleanup. And then when he was older, remember, he had all those knee issues. He couldn't stay on the field. Irv Smith, you might remember, he missed a year in 2021. He had the full repair. He'll probably never have an issue with it again. It's fully repaired. It's done. It's no longer, missed a whole season for it, but then that was that. So that's the decision. And it'll depend on what they find when they actually put him under the knife.
Well, let me ask you the easy one. What like, in a perfect world, not being selfish that we want to see this dude out there, it probably makes sense, like, do the full thing, right?
Probably, unless it's nothing, right? Unless it's, literally like one, half of 1 millimeter, and it's like, okay, we don't have to go like completely insane over this. We can that'll be fine. So yeah, it depends, but I think in any world where there's a longer tear, then yeah, you don't want this dude having knee issues. He can. This season was gonna kind of be the Darnold one, anyways. He can be the starter next year, and we can just we just have to wait longer to see what we wanted to see, which I know is very annoying. Nobody in the world of sports likes waiting, but a millisecond for instant feedback. But I don't know. Play Overwatch. That's not really what this game is about.
How do you think does this have any effect on Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell? Like where they're at in their career, where they're at with the Vikings. Like now their quarterback is out. Now we're not going to see there was a chance we were going to see him this year, and they could see if maybe JJ McCarthy's a real deal. How does this affect them?
I don't think it does at all. They're going into a contract year next year, so you'll probably see extension news on them. Whether they did well or not, that's the thing about coach and GM extensions is they happen really, like, you could be on the hottest of hot seats and you'll still get your contract extended. Because nobody wants to be on a contract here. If you want him coaching on a contract here, you might as well just fire him. That's just sort of a unwritten rule of the league is that guys will get that. So they'll get that contract extension probably no matter what, or they'll get fired if they go 3-14 and we're really mad or something like that. So I don't think it has a huge impact. It just suspends in midair. We just have to wait a little longer than we thought we had to wait. And, 4 years from now, we'll look back on this and be like, oh yeah, remember he missed the first few games? Don't be lost in the moment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't be lost in the moment. It's big picture.
Did you hear Kevin O'Connell's press conference?
No, I have not listened to it yet. I just saw the quote.
All right. I was telling Lupagus that maybe I'm reading too much into it. He sounded very, very sad, as he should be, but it made me sad. That's all I want to talk about.
All right. Well, let's move on from JJ here for a little bit. Is there what storyline so far in camp has been the most intriguing for you to follow besides all of our injuries?
All the injuries. Yeah, besides JJ McCarthy, that's been the fun one.
It's gonna be tough to talk about anything else.
Yeah, Jalen Naylor blowing up. Love that.
Yeah.
Having an actual wide receiver 3. And now, and this is especially important now, the fact that Sam Darnold looks like a changed man. He is doing everything right. He's doing, mechanically, he's doing stuff right. Playing in reasonable time. He looks like a veteran and not a kid seeing ghosts, like that. It feels like that seeing ghosts version of Sam Darnold has been behind him. And now that really matters, because now the only hope you have for this season to not be a long, horrific slog is for Sam Darnold to be a different version of himself than we ever saw with the Jets or the Panthers.
I gotta say, I mean, the way you broke down the meniscus injury,
I've covered this a couple times. All right.
How many injuries, when it comes out, exactly the prognosis?
Meniscus is one. All right. We've had a few of those. I've written some articles when I wrote for Zone Coverage. I would very often, if there was an injury and I wanted to understand about it, I would go find some medical website that explained your dad's injury to you, and tried to understand what was really going on. That really helps me, especially when it's news that makes me sad. Understanding it more helps me deal with it. So Danielle Hunter's injury, the bulging disc stuff, that I started to really understand how the spine is built and what that injury means and why it's so why it's so detrimental to why it did to JJ Watt what it did. It's that one. I deeply understand knees and Achilles injuries. Yeah, those are the ones. They're soft tissue, the muscle strains and stuff. I'm not as familiar with, because those are shorter term. Those don't make you I got to figure out something else on my fantasy team. That's about as bad.
Well,
as
you sound like a medical professional, so now Onebar will be sending you some images and descriptions of what's going on with his body.
I'll have some questions. Anybody with their ailments, send over to Luke Braun. He'll be sure
I am
to
a
give
doctor.
you
I have gone to medical school, and you can Google that.
All right.
Well, Sam Darnold, do the Vikings shut him down for the rest of the preseason now? I mean, you think we see any more of him? We've got Nick Mullins, Sam Darnold, and Jaron Hall. I mean, they got to protect their boy now.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the plan anyways. I still don't quite know how Kevin O'Connell's approaching the preseason now that he's doing it different than he did it before. So I don't know if it's, okay, we'll get him one drive to get his feet wet and that's it. Or if it's, we're going to do the thing where it kind of scales up like it did in the old days, where you did a drive and then you did a quarter and then you do a half, like a full dress rehearsal in the third game. So I'm not sure what the plan is at all, but I don't think that one quarterback getting injured means you play scared for the rest of it. Scared money don't make money. All right. Injuries are part of the game. They happen, as devastating as they are, as sad as we all are. You cannot change your strategy to prevent the unpreventable.
Makes sense. Did you have a concern on this team that's kind of validated throughout camp and the first preseason game? See, I was right. That part of this team sucks.
The corners being ass?
I had a feeling that's where you were going to go.
Yeah. Well, we're going to enter. You know what's going to be great, though? So looking at the team control on all these guys, right? You've got Byron Murphy last year, his deal. You got Shaq Griffin on a 1-year deal. You got Fabian Moreau on a 1-year deal. You got 2 years left of a Caleb Evans. You have no Andrew Booth left anymore. The corners on this team are going to all evaporate, and we are going to enter next offseason with 2 corners on the roster again. We're going to be in the exact same spot.
Great.
So I'm going to be corner. You got some free agent money? Get a corner. 2 draft picks in the draft. Both of them should be corners. It's all they can do. They better have no other needs, because they only have corner.
Mr. Gilmore, if they sign him, do you think it? I mean, do you think
it doesn't move
that will help
it?
Does it do anything for you? Move the needle at corner?
It doesn't do a lot for me. We'll see. We'll see if there's any gas left in the tank. But the thing about players who get old is they never get younger. And he's been showing some signs. Maybe he had a little in the tank last year. He did okay last year, but we don't expect that to get better as you get older. Nobody ages backwards.
Benjamin Button, great
movie. No Benjamin Button.
All right, your GM. What when it comes down to the final 53, what position do you see being the toughest to actually get down?
Ooh. Well, suddenly the D-line got hard. the back part of the D line, of the interior D line, I think you have their starters or they seem pretty set on that with Phillips and Bullard in the front like they had last year, and then Jerry Tillery kind of doing the Dean Lowry thing, rotating in. But behind that, we kind of all penciled, oh, it'll be Jaquelin Roy and maybe maybe Levi Drake, like the draft picks. But you had Jalen Redmond popping off. Jaquelin Roy kind of got passed up in that preseason game. I think that battle continues to move on. You had interesting plays from, of course, Levi Drake Rodriguez, and on the outside, you got all this Bo Richter stuff going on. He had all this cool, he had a couple of cool plays. Gabe Murphy missed a game, but if you watched if you were paying attention to the D-line in the fourth quarter of that preseason game, whoo, baby, they were killing them. They were cooking. Everybody was cooking. And so that means that somebody that didn't have as much of a day, like Jaquelin Roy or James Lynch or Gabe Murphy, who didn't even play, all fall behind these like undrafted cats. Like Tyler Manoa and Taki Taimani were going absolutely nuts in that game. And suddenly you got to think a little bit harder about that. I think that depth got a little harder, which is good because we needed somebody that showed you something on that group. Of course, fourth quarter of a preseason game, nobody's taking Harrison Phillips' job or anything like that. But in terms of who makes the 53, that's when you make the 53 is the fourth quarter of a preseason game when somebody you didn't expect balls out.
Yeah, so Kwesi's first 2 years around Final Cut Day, he has made some trades last year. Traded Darian Lowe, he traded for Jalen Reagor the year before. Do you think we see him, whether it's moving a guy for picks or bringing in somebody else? Do you think Kwesi's dealing again here on Final Cut Day?
Yeah, always, man. Don't trade a trader, right?
Yeah,
he's a Wall Street guy. Of course, he's traded. I think what we've all come to expect so much that now I'm getting convinced that it's not going to happen is a Lewis Cine trade.
Yeah,
he kind of like. Here's the deal. It doesn't match with anyone's priors. He had a better day than Bobby McCain, bar none. Bobby McCain had a bad day. He had that one good hit. He messed up a bunch of coverage. Like Bobby McCain did not have a good day. Got watched out in the run. Lewis Cine had a better day, more physical, stood up to like wide receiver blocking better, tackled better. Like he had a better day. So you might keep him on the team for that. And he also played on the special teams unit, which he did not do last year. That's really important. He did not play special teams last year, so he didn't even dress for the games. He didn't need them for anything. Playing on special teams for Cine, he was bad in special teams in camp last year. So he worked on that, and he got better there. That gets you on the roster. Special teams makes the team. If he does get traded, though, it'll be your 6th, 7th swap in 2028. The draft picks that don't matter, please just take the contract. Other than that, I don't know. So the Stephon Gilmore thing, it sounds like it's a Rolodex thing, where they're just like, they brought him in, they did the visit, and I think the quote was like, yeah, if we need him, now we know him, basically, which is like they brought in a bunch of wide receivers, I think, last week. That's probably the same thing, which is, okay, if we get a million injuries, we're calling you, but we're not going to put you on the roster right now, but hey, stay by your phone. That's kind of you're not on the roster. It's like the next thing after being on the roster. So I think if they're already doing that at corner, they're probably saying this is the group. So I don't know about any I don't know. But look at the busts. Whose first round busts are getting cut? Because let's just go the Ross Blacklocks and Jalen Reagors somewhere. Go look for that. Maybe Kwesi trades for another one of those. He loves the reclamation project.
Boy, that was uplifting. Let me ask you. We'll let you get going. I know you got a lot of talking on JJ McCarthy to do yourself. Once again, check out Luke Locked On Vikings. Links down in the description. Appreciate you hopping on. What's your thoughts on Ty Chandler's being our RB2?
I felt better about it on Friday than I do now. You can't have the dropsies like that, man, and be RB2. I do think he still just kind of has the job. I don't think they're going to panic like I probably would in Kwesi's position over it. But yeah, he'll get 2 drives a game. I mean, that's going to be the way until we start figuring out, until we see health issues or whatever, fatigue with Aaron Jones, depending on how much they want to manage him. But like, he'll do 2 drives. I think the workload split will be very similar to what it was last year with Alexander Madison, where Madison was the bell cow back and Chandler came in every once in a while to spell him. So, 2 Chandler drives a game, and Aaron Jones does the rest. So for a guy that goes in two drives a game, yeah, you can have some blemishes. You're only in for 2 drives, you know, it's going to be okay. But the running back market, I think Damian Williams, the Bills guy, or the Bills last year guy, I think he was Patriots for a while. Or is it Damian Harris? I forget. He's like the only really interesting free agent running back out there. Otherwise, you're signing like corpses, or you're bringing in more Myles Gaskins.
Yeah.
Who actually I thought he had a good
Myles
preseason.
Gaskin.
Maybe there's something to explore there, but I don't know. It's still not the running back room was bad last year, and we only replaced one of them.
Yeah.
That is accurate.
It's true. Yep.
All right, Luke Braun, you're the man. We appreciate
Yep.
it. We're going to be
Thank
seeing
you.
your face throughout the season. Enjoy. Go listen. Luke's going to make us feel better about the JJ McCarthy situation. I can already feel it.
He knows a lot about meniscuses.
He does.
This guy.
Menisci, I think. Yeah, next time you guys have me on, do it after a win. We got to be happy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we are.
That's right.
Hey, we're all
Bring me on at a
smiling, man.
happier time.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Take care.
Yep. See you, Luke.
Take care.